you've been missing Patriot Basketball, we've got good news for you. Season 1 of VHSL Sports gets underway next week, and while you can't be there in person, WPAT can. We'll be streaming every JV and varsity boys and girls home basketball game on the ATown Today YouTube channel beginning Tuesday, January 19th, when the boys take on county rival Western Albemarle at 6 p.m. Check out albemarlepatriots.com to get the Season 1 schedule and subscribe to ATown Today on YouTube to get notifications of upcoming games. Then get ready for Albemarle Patriots Sports on WPAT.
He gets to the rim. He puts it in.
Hello Patriots, CJ here, and welcome back. I hope you all had a fantastic break. This week we'll get to talk to a few of the sports coaches and get some ideas on how to stay fit during the wintertime. Myself and Malachi will go over our first round NFL playoff predictions, but first, here are some announcements. As we're winding down the term, we want to remind you that virtual peer tutoring is available to all Albemarle students during periods 1, 2, and 3, or 7 days a week in the Virtual Tutoring Center. A few ways you can use virtual tutors in January is for working in small groups or one-on-one for SOL preparation, getting assistance and feedback in completing culminating projects, catch up on missed work, or if you're off pace to finish a certain assignment, you may use help with the peer tutors. If you need translation support in a language class, if you need any homework help, and if you need more assistance and guidance than currently available in your class, you can use peer tutors. Peer tutoring can join your Zoom class, or students can work with them in the Virtual Peer Tutoring Center on Discord. To get in contact with a peer tutor, fill out the request form that is linked in the description, and if you need help during doing so, please contact Miss Barron at hbarron@k12albemarle.org. Students in the Habitat Pollinator Garden have made bat boxes over the holidays, and some of the art students will be helping decorate those bat boxes. They've also planted shrubs and trees in the first ever AHS Habitat Pollinator Garden. There are room for new members, however, so if you enjoy to create, imagine, plan, build, execute, and be part of a group of students that work on making this world a little bit better, then there's room for you. There are trees to plant, bird and bee houses to build, and lots of planning to do. Come be a part of a team of students that are working to get things done. Pollinators are on the decline, and we have to make that statistic change. Without them, we'd have no coffee or chocolate or any other plant that we eat daily. So if you're interested, email Miss Wise at ewackenbottom@k12albemarle.org. Meetings are typically take place virtually on Friday at 1 p.m. Now here's Minutemen President Connor Wells with an important announcement.
Hello everyone, my name is Connor Wells, and I'm the president of the AHS Minutemen. We're the tenor-based a cappella group here at Albemarle High School. Going into the second semester, we're looking for new members to join our group and sing with us. If you have a voice in the bass to tenor range, and you're interested in joining the Minutemen, practice and record yourself singing a verse and a chorus of a song that shows off your singing ability. Again, that's a verse and a chorus. Email any questions and your submissions to minutemenahs@gmail.com. Again, that's minutemenahs@gmail.com by January 21st. We hope to hear from you soon.
This week, our very own Eve sat down with some coaches here at Albemarle to get some ideas on how to stay fit during the winter. Here it is.
Hello, I'm Eve, and I met up with Patriot cross-country coach and history teacher Mr. Alba Cantone to find out how he's been staying in shape and to get some insight on what you can be doing to stay fit during these winter months.
Hi, Mr. Alba Cantone. Thank you for joining us on ATown Weekly.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Can you give us a daily breakdown of your exercise routine?
Oh, wow. A whole lot of jazzercise and just jazzercise. No, I'm kidding. Well, so I typically try to run before school every day. It's a great chance for me to kind of clear my head in the morning and get myself ready for the day. If I can't run in the morning, I'll typically try to get in right after school, get a run in. But most of the time, I'm getting up nice and early and running in the coldest part of the day, which is its own treat.
So for a runner, the cold winter months present a challenge. How do you stay warm and comfortable during outdoor workouts and runs?
So you've asked a really good question, because you've brought up two things, warm and comfortable, which I don't actually know if you can fully do, but it's a lot of layers, right? It's wearing running tights, it's wearing joggers, it's bundling up. Luckily, because of quarantine, we have to wear gaiters when we run. And that actually is super convenient because then you got something you can just pull right over your cheeks and keep yourself nice and warm. But it's also a lot of just getting used to it. So if you're not a fan of the cold, you got to have a couple runs where you get back and you go, I'm never going to do that again. Like that was not a good idea. And then you slowly get used to it. But that first couple weeks in November where it gets nippy is tough, but you grow to love it.
What other ways have you discovered to exercise when you're stuck indoors?
So like I said, just jazzercise. No, I'm kidding. So that's a really good question because I running is kind of my thing. But my wife loves to do yoga, so I've started doing a little bit of yoga with her, and it's a lot of like workouts on my phone. I'll find a YouTube video of something that works, or my wife will find something, and we'll try to do that. And it forces us to get a little bit creative because a lot of fun is like the group workout aspect, right? Going to a group class or going to a team event. So trying to find a way to replicate that is tough, but it's a good challenge to look for new things to do, especially when it gets like so snowy and icy, or it's actually a hazard to try to go and run unless you're just basically walking. So finding new stuff like that on my phone is what I have done. So.
For those of us who maybe aren't as serious about fitness, what advice would you give about getting started with a running regimen or workout routine?
Oh, that is a very, very good question. Well, first, I think you got to convince yourself that it's something that you want to do. And for me, exercise does two things. One, obviously, it keeps me in shape, but more importantly, it's great mentally, and especially during quarantine where we're cooped up. Oftentimes I go for my run and then I sit at Zoom all day. So it's a great chance to break up the monotony of it. And mentally, it's good because it lets me kind of clear my head. And so some people run after school. I know a ton of people who do exercise after school, and that's a great way to decompress after the day. And so what I would say is probably just start small, right? Think about small little ways that you can, find a workout on YouTube or go out for that 1 mile run, or just, run around your block once, or do jumping jacks outside. It can be anything. It can be anything as small to say, let's just get into that routine. Because once you get into that routine, it's going to become a lot easier. And after a couple of weeks of toughing it out, you're going to find that you really enjoy it. Every once in a while, I'd say once every 2 weeks or so, I might take a day off just to let my body rest. And I'm so jittery during that day because I go, oh my, I've been doing this, pretty consistently. I want to keep it up. And so I know that there's no magic bullet to doing it. And the big thing is recognizing that it's going to help you mentally just as much as it might physically. And I think that's actually the most important part. And then also starting small and thinking of little ways to make it sustainable. Because if you are not a runner and you say, I'm going to run a marathon today, you probably won't be running much more. That's probably, you probably won't want to ever do that again. Or, I don't really lift, but, let me go max out on the bench press. I probably won't be able to use my arms for the foreseeable future. So starting small and just trying to keep it sustainable is always a great place to start.
Hello, Patriots. NFL playoffs are here. Now, if you are a football fan, you've most likely been waiting for this time for a while, especially with the uncertainty of if this season was even going to happen. But the season is happening, it has happened, and the playoff time is here. So if you are a fan of the sport, you're excited regardless of if your team is in it or not, because playoff time is always fun. And with playoff time being here, Malachi and I decided that we should do a NFL pick playoff show type of thing. We're going to do this until the playoffs ends, and we're going to see which person performed better. Now, when it comes to the picks and the scoring, each pick correct will get you 1 point. However, Malachi and I each week will both be able to pick a lock and an upset. An upset means you pick the underdog to win, and a lock just means what pick you're most confident in. If you get either of those right, you get 2 points for each. So, I'll restate it. Each correct pick is a point unless it is your lock or your upset, in which case that is 2 points. Now with that being said, let's get right into the picks. The first matchup we have this weekend will take place at around 1 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. It will be the Indianapolis Colts traveling to Buffalo to play the Bills. For this pick, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. Their offense is elite. They put up 56 points against what some might consider a top 5 defense in the league, and that is the Miami Dolphins, and they did that just last week. and for half the game they didn't even play their starters. Even though they're going up against one of the better defenses in the league, being top 2 or 3 for the Indianapolis Colts, I still think they'll be able to pull this one out, especially since they're on their home turf and they don't have to travel. So, for my first pick, I will go with the Buffalo Bills.
First game, CJ, Colts, Bills. I gotta go with the Colts. I'm not biased at all. I mean, I'm thinking completely clearly. Honestly, I think it's just gonna be an upset. The Bills haven't been hosting a playoff game in like 20-something years. I think they're not gonna be able to handle it. With the playoff expertise of Phillip Rivers, I think the Colts are gonna be able to get it done.
This next game takes place right after the Bills and Colts game, and this is the Los Angeles Rams up against the Seattle Seahawks. My pick for this one will be the Seattle Seahawks. They're the higher seed. They've already played the Rams twice this year since it's an interdivision rivalry, and they won 1 out of 2. I feel as though even that the Rams defense is very good, especially with Aaron Donald, top 3, top 2 defensive player this year. I feel as though the offense for the Seahawks is too good for the Rams.
Rams, Seahawks, I'm going to have to go with the Rams. I think the Rams defense is I think they're the top-ranked defense in the league. Also, I think the Seattle's defense is awful, and I think the Rams' offense has a lot of potential, so I think the Rams will put up more points eventually than the Seahawks.
For our final game on Saturday, it will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to the nation's capital to play the Washington football team. Now, me being a Washington football team fan, my upset for the week will be the Washington football team. They're a top 5 defense this year. I think they'll be able to pull it out, so my fingers are crossed. I'm picking Washington, and I'm rooting for Washington.
I think this game's really a no-brainer. The football team versus the Bucs. The Bucs have the greatest player of all time, Tom Brady, the most playoff expertise. The football team really doesn't have any playoff expertise on either side of the ball. I mean, Chase Young is prolific, but other than that, they have Alex Smith. But Alex Smith is dealing with his own injuries, so yeah, I think the Bucs take care of the football team pretty easily.
Our next matchup takes place at 1 p.m. on Sunday. This is the Sunday slate of games, and it is the Baltimore Ravens heading to Tennessee to take on the Titans. Now, they've already played each other once this year, and the Tennessee Titans got the better hand. Their running back, Derrick Henry, ran all over him, ran miles on him. It was crazy. And he also got the game-winning touchdown in overtime. However, this Baltimore Ravens offense and team in general is very hot right now. So I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens on this. Lamar Jackson is looking great, much better in the second half of the season than he was in the first half. And I just don't think the Tennessee Titans defense can keep up with the Baltimore Ravens offense.
I had the Titans over the Ravens. I think that Derrick Henry is, like Stephen A. Smith said, is the Ravens' kryptonite. He kicked their butts earlier this year in overtime, and he kicked their butts last year. He had 195 yards rushing in the playoff game last year. Also, I don't know if Lamar Jackson's up to the challenge yet. I guess we'll see. I'm actually rooting for Lamar Jackson to win this game, but I think the Titans are going to handle the Ravens.
Now, the next game, we have the number 2 Saints going up against the number 7 Bears. This game will be broadcasted on Nickelodeon, which is pretty crazy. I really hope the halftime show is SpongeBob and Sweet Victory, but I don't want to get my hopes up. Anyway, I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints. This is most likely Drew Brees' last season for the Saints, for football in general, and I don't think he's going to want to go out in the wild card round against the worst team, or the worst seeded team in the NFC. Drew Brees, he's really good. He's a Hall of Famer, easily. He's going to be a legend. He already has 1 Super Bowl, and he might be looking at another one this year. So my pick is going for the Saints.
Bears, Saints, I got to pick the Saints. The Bears really aren't that impressive to me offensively. I think they just barely snuck in the playoffs. I don't really think they belong in the playoffs to begin with. I like their defense, but in the end, I think Drew Brees' playoff experience and Alvin Kamara, I think it's just going to be too much for the Bears.
And now the final game of the wild card round, it will be the Cleveland Browns going to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Now, this is another interdivision rivalry, just like the Rams and the Seahawks, and they also split their series half and half. However, their last game, they just played this past week, and the Steelers did not play all their starters. Their quarterback didn't play. A lot of their defense didn't play because they wanted to rest them for of course, this game. The Browns edged out a win and got a spot in the playoffs. So with that being really close, I'm going to have to give my lock to the Steelers. They're going to have all their starters back. They're going to be fully rested. This is my lock pick. I'm picking the Steelers. I don't think this will be a close game. Now let's head to Malachi and hear what he has to say.
Last but not least, I got the Browns over the Steelers. I know the Browns won last game and Big Ben wasn't playing or whatever, but like, I think once you play a team a third time in a season, even though the Steelers did beat them earlier in the season by a big margin, I think the Browns have the ability to take care of the Steelers, and I think the Steelers are going to underestimate the Browns in this game, and the Browns are going to shock the world.
Thank you very much, Malachi, but it is now Monday morning, early Monday morning, and we know the results of all the games. So on the AFC side of things, the Browns, they beat the Steelers, so that's a point for Malachi. The Bills beat the Colts, point for me. The Ravens beat the Titans, another point for me. And then the Saints beat the Bears, points for both of us. The Buccaneers beat the Washington football team, so that's 2 points for Malachi. And the Rams beat the Seahawks, so that's 1 point for Malachi. So at the end of the day, or at the end of the weekend, Malachi is up 5-3, and next week you will have us making picks. And now Green Bay and Kansas City will be playing after their first week bye. So hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week. That's it for this week at ATown. Stay safe and take care.